that little box up
That's you.
Where you go?
That's you, man. That is you.
here. I'm set up.
Dude, y'all are rich.
This is better than Mosaic, man. This is booze.
I can't.
Yeah. Oh my
What was that?
Y'all, everything is okay.
Are you sure about that,
I'm
Angel?
honestly scared to touch anything.
Man.
I'm scared to
Garrett's
touch
over here with the fluffy
Yeah.
pillow.
Yeah, okay.
He literally said that when he came in.
Ease it down.
Yo, I'm not a camera person.
Okay, that's good. Just center me up.
Okay. You okay?
Keep her on the
Definitely not center.
Let's not do production.
Who know how to work the cameras? Who not? Good, you do it. He got it.
I do cameras for their church.
Okay.
Okay,
one on.
Is that not going to be over?
Yeah, it's
What in the world? I did
Okay.
not do that.
Mommy,
Man,
Mommy,
nice.
kind of unplug the cable.
Mason, you unplugging
Here,
it?
I'm trying to be.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, Mason, you really helped it out a whole lot.
Hold on one second, guys. Excuse me.
We had a. I
Technical
mean,
difficulties.
I know.
At least you didn't get caught in an unflattering pose. He's praying. Look.
Look at me so good. Look.
Yeah.
I was wondering where you were.
the
I
baby
was
shower.
disappointed.
Were you?
Yes.
Well, don't be disappointed. I thought I'd come over and say hey.
Yeah. Yes. This is Kylie.
Hi, Kylie.
Who's Kylie?
That's my hand.
I need my water. Where's my water? I thought I was like.
It even
It's like-
rhymes, dude.
it's like-
Or Boulevard.
It's like froze.
Did you know Garrett?
Yeah, it's very froze.
So did you just want me to stop the stream?
I met him in the property world. Yes.
Wait, you gotta scream
I
it.
don't know, they were right here.
Like she said, you know, I mean, I don't, and I don't either. I'm like the other
All right,
I don't
we're live
know
again.
him that well. I just
Is it live?
Yeah.
Okay.
bunch out.
You have to
Maybe I.
You got the camera. Mason got it.
Okay.
Is it
Did y'all play back?
No, it's not live.
This is where we live.
What did you do?
Brooklyn.
And you thought that you really were.
Yeah, I really thought you were family.
Yeah, it's showing that.
We are.
I really thought you
But you thought by blood, huh?
I
Yeah.
really did.
I don't even see you, right? Same on. Oh,
Brian, you gotta go down a little bit.
I'm sorry, Graham.
I'm just seeing it.
I think I ditched the camera. Of course, I'm always the guy when some kind of AV stuff fails, I just ditch it.
Oh yeah, dude.
Just
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
back on.
Alright.
Yay.
All right.
All right, now center it up. Mason.
Center them up, Mason. Don't mess it up again.
Right there.
All
That
right.
looks great.
Told you I know how to.
Incredible.
We're back. We're back live. All right. We got Imani on the screen. We are. We're good.
Princess?
Don't worry. It'll come up right here. Later on. Okay. So
Mason.
I'm heavy
Mason,
on.
he's not setting it up.
Brian told me to put the testimony on there. There.
All right. I'm gonna have some of y'all come up to share what God has done this summer for all of us. So one thing is He connected a lot of us, right? I don't know if some of y'all remember me in the past, right? Whenever I was so shy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
You
talking.
like spin in that
Very
little
much so.
area. Like
This fool was the first
specifically that
person I
little,
talked to
like,
when I walked
I
in.
don't know what was up with that. You know, just,
He was.
but it was weird.
Frank was the first person I talked to when I walked in.
That is true. First person.
Pick a good one.
I know.
Could have been so much worse.
So,
Yeah, keep it,
okay.
keep it.
Could have been me.
So we're gonna be faithful. And we're gonna walk in obedience and remember what the Lord has done for us. Okay. So who wants to come up first?
I think the preacher should
Mariah.
Stop.
That's what I'm thinking.
Why?
Either,
Why me?
Either now win.
either the preacher or Brian.
He's seen the chosen. He's seen the chosen. It's not now. It's when.
Why don't we do Garrett first then?
Hey, I'm here to listen. I got
No,
I
Pastor
gotta preach
Derek.
tomorrow night.
I get that.
Which I need to preach. That's crazy. I love the past. That makes anything spiritual.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, why would you turn it down?
Yeah, we
I
got.
love how he just knew where it was.
Right.
Yeah, dude, I would have been sitting here.
Smooth.
Okay. So, first of all, I'll go.
There you go.
And then somebody else will come. Okay? I'm gonna be you. Or Mama Sonia.
I'm just here to watch.
I'll go first. I'll go first.
Alright.
Well, Grant's going first.
Well,
And then you'll come. Yeah.
You're second. Bam. Problem
Okay.
solved. We already know this one day.
Before Mosaic, whenever
oh, this
I lived
is
in Colorado, I've had so many miracles happen in my life. Whenever I was 4 weeks old, I was on a private jet to Vanderbilt because I was about to die. Right? I don't know what was happening. I was just, my mother can tell you, but that's some time for another. But I was about to die. Okay, and so it was out of, I don't know where y'all know, but it's Union City, Tennessee, over in West Tennessee. And it's about a 3-hour drive from there to Nashville, right? Actually, probably more. So, a 3-hour drive from here to there. So, we took the airport, and I was lifeline over to there. So, that was one of them. Okay? Another thing was the miracle of my mother. I say this every time. But, short story, she was very sick, but God healed her. And praise God, we still have her today. That was a scary time. Okay. Well, I'm going on a timeline of my life, kind of. Just so y'all get an in-depth understanding. Okay. So after that, I was in West Tennessee. I actually wanted to become a pastor whenever I was from age 6 to age 10, right? And I had that passion, right? I was on the news for our local church because I installed something there. And I was 6 years old, cute, Christmas Eve, what? So I was on local news there. And then these pastors, they loved me, right? And then that was a AOG church, right? And then we left that church because of, church hurt, right? Pastoral problems, leadership problems. And then we went to some Baptist church, right? That was fun. That was the Southern Baptist. Actually, it wasn't too Southern Baptist, but it was the Southern Baptist, right? But it was just, not my thing, Not too spirit-filled.
Mine either, bro.
Not too spirit-filled.
Good old Baptist.
Good old Baptist. So, then that happened, right? And then we moved to Colorado whenever I was in age 11. There, I completely fell off. I wouldn't say on the deep end, but the deeper end. Right, I wasn't deep, I was just, I was in the middle of the shallow and the deep end of a pool. I was right here. Right. So, Colorado comes. Them years, I completely kind of dropped the whole Christian thing a little bit. I still prayed, but I didn't understand. I knew who Jesus was, but I didn't know Jesus as my Lord and Savior. Right? So then I came to know Him whenever I came to Mosaic. And that was amazing. I didn't keep on track. So, in Colorado, had some bad friends. Right? They weren't the best influences. We know how friends work, right? Whenever we surround ourselves with the body of Christ, we're likened in it, right? As iron sharpens iron, so does a friend sharpen a friend, right? 1 and 2 together. Confess your sins to one another, so you may be healed, right? So I went to the wrong finger, and this is also the time when COVID happened. And we were at home, and that was crazy mess. Crazy mess. Right? And then, so that was the first 2 years whenever we were there. I was just falling off, picking bad friend groups, kind of falling into things of this world, kind of forgetting about my Bible and not reading the Word. and not praying. That was rough. And then December of 2019 rolled around. Yep, my mother back there, she was healed. Okay. December 4th, 2019. That day, my mother went into surgery. Okay. For, y'all didn't know this, I'm kind of, it's kind of if I share your information. Okay. So, she has what they call Crohn's disease, right? So that's kind of what started it all. She got diagnosed whenever she was like 18. She had to drop out of college because of it. You know, all these different things. And then from that, like, her body just kind of started to break down, which led to how many surgeries?
I've lost count. Probably 16.
That's a lot of surgeries. Within, you know, she's only
45.
45. I mean, that's not that bad. For 16 surgeries, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But that caused that, and from that led to. So December 49th, 2019, she went in the hospital, right? Because she had some type of thing that was going on. She always used to have bowel obstructions, right? Where like, you know, the food can't really pass through, like your intestines or whatever it's called. I don't know the whole depths. She does. But she used to have them a lot. And I don't remember what she went in that surgery for.
To have, to open up my colon.
Because basically all this.
To help me get through.
Yeah, to help me get through it, right. And from that, anybody ever heard of sepsis? Septic shock? I know you have. Anybody? Well, she went to septic shock, okay? She was on a ventilator for how many days? A week. That's right. She was on the ventilator for a week. Okay? Y'all don't know what that is. It's basically something crazy that they going on. Okay. And from that moment, she was sick. And I was terribly like, I don't know, not in a good place with God. I was like, what's going to happen if I lose my mother? Right? Because that percentage of like survival is kind of, I was like, look at that negative number, you know? But I didn't know really. I knew Jesus, but I didn't know him. So this is part of my testimony. So on December 12th, which is her birthday of 2019, she got her ventilator off, right? During the time she had her ventilator, she used to have crazy, what's it called? Hallucinations?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy hallucinations. Like seeing things, thinking our dog was dead whenever she wasn't, and she didn't believe it even though we FaceTimed her. And then later on, she had to come see her face to face. Right. She thought our dog was dead. She thought somebody got married. Right? Oh, well, somebody had a relationship with somebody.
You thought
And it was huh?
thought I was pregnant.
Oh yeah, Mom thought she was pregnant. Yeah. Oh, okay. I was pregnant.
You were messing with my stomach. It just was logical.
Yeah. So she was pregnant. She always used to try to get out the bed. And that kind of struck her down. Like the whole thing strapped. Oh yeah. Yeah, they did. December 12th, 2019, they took her ventilator off, right? And so that, you know, that was good, right? During that time, we had a lot of her friends and our family come out to Colorado to, you know, because we didn't have our mother, and my father was at the hospital 24/7. Like, he took a lot of weeks off of work just so he could be with my mother. So then we had our share of relatives come out and friends located in different states. We knew nobody in Colorado. All of our family members live in Tennessee and Michigan. That's it. So they had to fly her to come and support us. Right. That was a whole mess. There was times I would go underneath, not that desk, but a desk in my mother's room, and I would just sit under it, right? And I would just cry. Like 3 hours. I was like so unsure of anything at that point. Right? And then December, what was the date, Mom? whenever you were miraculously killed?
16.
16. So, December 7th,
Or maybe it might have been
16th.
afterwards. I don't know. Anyway, go on.
December 16th, 2019. I didn't show either. But that day, right, my doctors thought there was an infectious disease or flesh-eating bacteria that was living inside of her, right? And kind of like eating some stuff up, right? And then, so the doctor was like, if we don't get her in the surgical room within a couple of minutes, I mean, her life might be lost, right? And so, Mom, you should be up here describing this.
We
But it's
laughed
part of my
at it. She
testimony.
don't want to stop laughing.
Oh, I mean, go ahead.
And, so, because I don't remember.
I don't remember it. That's the thing. I can't describe
Right.
it because you guys all lived it. I just was out.
Yeah, she was out. She was out. She was in a coma for like 2 weeks. Yeah.
Bathroom right there.
So that day, December 16th, 2019, they went in the surgical room, right, with a low percentage that if they don't get it out, she will die. Period. And miraculously, whenever she came out, the doctors didn't find a single thing. And they thought they had seen it, but they didn't see a single thing. Her bowels were restored, her skin color was back, because it was white, like everything was, like, face was drenched. And if y'all ever seen anybody in the hospital, on a ventilator, in the ICU, it's rough to see. And especially whenever you see your mother like that. You know, the one who raised you, one who gave birth, you know, to me, of me. And that's hard to see. So that day, she was healed by the power of God. Simply that. She didn't have that flesh-eating bacteria. None of that. He was healed.
And I completely came back. Like I didn't even know really who I was. But when I came back, when they brought me back from the surgery, coming back into my room, my husband said my face was glowing and I was completely back. I understood everything. I could talk normally again. I was just like, within 20 minutes. And they gave me an hour to live.
Yeah. It was rough. And my dad was going through it too. So me and my sister, we were just here. I don't know what we were thinking. I was just rough. Okay. I didn't know the whole aspect because probably my parents didn't want to stress me out. Because, you know, still had to go to school. If I knew that, I would not be going to school. So, I told Dad. And then she got to the hospital on Christmas Eve, December 24th of 2019. All the doctors and nurses cheered her out of the hospital. And it was amazing. Right. From that point, 2019 was to 2020 was rough. And then, guess what? COVID has to come around in 2020. Right? Had no friends. You know, had nobody to rely on. I was home 24/7. This is the part whenever I started getting terrible anxiety because my mother had a weak immune system because she just got out of this hospital and she was almost in a near-death, she was in a near-death experience, right? And I was just like, oh my gosh, what if I get sick from this crazy disease that everybody's talking about, right? What if I get sick from it? My mother's gonna die. Oh my gosh. And so that was rough. Like, there was times whenever, even if I had the thought of anything, like, if I didn't have my mind clear, I would just, like, get so sick and nauseous. And you remember this. I would just get so sick, and I would just, like, it affected me physically, you know? And I thought, well, that has a big change, you know? Man, that was great. So that was 2020 and 21, right? And then, once again, I went back to school, didn't surround myself with the best friends, didn't know God, thought they knew God, like me, thought they knew Him, but didn't know Him. And that's why it's important to know Him. And so that even in the hard times, even in the biggest trial, temptation, tribulation, you can go on Him. His steadfast mercy, His steadfast grace, and His love for us is unconditional. So unconditional. If it wasn't for the grace of God, I don't know where I'd be. Goodness gracious. 6 feet under is where I'd be. Down in a place I don't want to be. Completely. Alright. 2022. Mama Sonia invited me to Mosaic. I call her Mama Sonia because, you know, she's my spiritual mother. Actually, I don't want to say that. She's my spiritual grandmother.
Oh.
Yeah.
You got to come over here and whoop you.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I couldn't be the cool aunt. He went straight to grandma.
Wow. I'll take that to the heart.
She went straight to grandma. So it was her and her nephews? Grandsons. See, exactly. So her grandsons invited me to Mosaic, right? They just went for a day because they're from California. I was like, okay, I like this church. I was like, I like what's happening here. You know? It's the first time I felt connected back. And I don't want to say it's because of Mosaic. It's because God. Completely. So then it's about, let's see. What time did we start? About March of 2022, we started coming to Mosaic for, you know, full time. I had to, me and Mama Sonia, we had to push Mom and Dad through the door to get to Mosaic. Because they didn't want to go because Mom doesn't like trying out new churches. That's also why we didn't try out a new church in Colorado. Because she didn't have anybody to push her. I'm exposing her. I'm sorry. Okay. I should stop. Okay. So, I remember the time we were driving through, Mosaic's parking lot, right? And then, I don't want to be here. I don't know why we're doing this. You know, it was just like, give it a chance. Right? His mother hated going to new churches. Hated it. So then, came connected to Mosaic students. That was also a great time when I first realized too, the body of Christ looks like what it looks like and who godly people are. You know, not just looking one way at the church and, you know, doing some other things on the side, right? Staying the same person throughout. Even whenever you see him at church, and if you see him at home, they're the same. That's what I love about y'all. Y'all are my family.
Aww.
She's over there in her snuggie.
Y'all really are my family. Even if y'all don't know, okay? Even if we don't have, you know, the best tight relationship, you know, y'all are still my family. Whenever I met y'all in Mosaic, my life was changed. Okay? Church camp. Everybody says church camp, but it kind of is, you know. It's the time when we don't have to worry about our parents. Whenever we don't have to feel like we have people observing us and looking at us and putting up on this pedestal. But it's the time when we can just connect, be in community, be in fellowship, and find God and experience Him for the first time. Oh. After the grace of God, like I was this summer camp, really understand it and really be so grateful and have a heart of gratitude after. Yeah. So I'm in church camp of last year, 2022. Favorite. Mama Sonia and my mother and Honor, they had to convince me to go. Because I was like, I don't want to go to this church camp. It's all it's probably going to be are these stinky people in the cabins. Just these people playing, just these, it was. Just these people playing some games, and then just sitting down whenever it's time to you know, have service right.
It's the only time Aaron will let you sit down.
This trip fear, you know. That's what I thought it'd be. I was like, I don't know nobody. I have no friends. I was like, who are these people?
Dang, bro.
Not who are these people, but like, I don't, like, who are they? No, what are they doing? Who are they? You know? You get it?
Some little.
And then I met Kate and Adam that day. I was like, who are these people sitting next to me? I don't know. You know? But I was so glad they forced me to go. Right? Because then I experienced the presence of the Lord for the first time. The works of the Holy Spirit. I discovered my spiritual gifts in that moment. And in that moment, my life was utterly changed without any words to describe it. Besides God. And if it wasn't for God, man, I'll be lost. So lost. Okay, you'll have to come up here. I'll take all y'all's time. But
Camp 23, go.
I'm just so glad I met you. So glad.
Aww.
And your influence.
I love
people.
you. Love you, man.
Even whenever you can't see that God's working, or even when you don't feel it, notice it, He is working.
Yeah.
Like Mama Sonia in her bedroom praying to have good neighbors that she can do life with.
Yes, sir.
Even when you can't notice it, even whenever you don't feel it or see it, God always has a plan, and it's going to work out. We just have to have faith, trust, and believe in Him. And abide in His Word. Camp 23. That is whenever I was called into ministry. Yep. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's whenever I felt the call to ministry and how I did whenever I was ages 6 through 10. I was like, I want to be a pastor. I felt the Lord calling me to that. Going back to that original spot that I was supposed to always be. But I found it again. And look what happened a couple months later. You know? Soon. It was like, hold up, y'all. This is kind of great. You know? I discovered that there. And then I met Andrew Carter. Right? And all of y'all, I got to know y'all on a more personal level. The things of a real body of Christ. What we're called to do and look like. So grateful for y'all. Love each and every single one of you. And God is so good. So good. So, that's a little thing. My testimony. You know? And God resurrected me. He set me free from quite a lot of things. The desires of the world, things I shouldn't have been doing. He set me free from it. Now I'm walking in it. The call to ministry. His favor. And ultimately Him. Alright, that's enough for me.
Yeah, get off the
Bye,
plate.
y'all.
Get off the
Hey.
plate. Oh, maybe probably.
Angel's like, yeah, get off the table.
I ain't gonna say too much. But I ain't gonna tell my testimony because the whole, but like he said, the whole youth group know my testimony. Don't y'all know my testimony? Yeah, yes. I ain't saying that. But what God did in my life this summer was bring Trent and his family into my life. I love them so much. But I really do. Y'all been a blessing to my life. And not only I went to one camp, but I went to both camps and God did something. God did something. But first camp, when we was about to leave, I didn't want to go home at all because what I was going to go home to, and I cried. Y'all probably didn't know, but I cried. But like the second time I went to camp and we was about to leave, and I think it was like Thursday, he was like, he said something about y'all go home and y'all speak in tongues and all that, and I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm finna speak in tongues. I'm finna anoint my doves. I'm finna do all that.
Hey, I did that.
Huh?
I know that on my doors.
Yeah. And when I went home, I didn't go home after. I'm lost.
It's okay.
When we went home, I didn't cry. But one girl was crying, and she was like, "I don't want to go home." I came up to her, hugged her. I was like, "Did you listen to that message Thursday? You better speak in tongues." I was just telling her that, and yeah, God, I had a lot of breakthroughs in camp. Like he did a lot. Yeah, God was good. Ain't it, y'all?
So it's okay.
Who next? Come on, Ryan.
Come on.
We cannot pause the thing either.
You exploded all
This summer, what I was done?
Yeah.
But I don't like this. I'm not like an upfront person.
Girl, just look at the thing. You
Come on.
gotta look at us.
Handwriting is nice, Grant.
Huh?
Handwriting's, it's nice. Oh.
Yeah, you're on the spot now. She gotta get her child.
This summer.
Come
This
on.
summer, what God has done, he's done a lot of things. He's definitely worked on my attitude with my parents. I'm trying to think. So like a little backstory. I got pregnant with Brooklyn, and then at my last church, a lot of people were gossiping about it and like not accepting me, and it's like judging didn't take away the fact that I was pregnant and having a kid at 15, and so me and my mom left that church and we came back to Mosaic when it was called Mosaic. We went when it was Tabernacle, but we came back and I was like, I don't like these people. I went home. I told my mom, I said, I don't like Pastor. I want to say Grant because I do that. I don't know. I did that last time. Pastor.
Aaron?
Yeah. No. Pastor Garrett.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I went home.
Wow.
You didn't like Pastor Garrett?
Listen.
Wait, you didn't
Not like Pastor Garrett.
I loved it, Pastor Garrett, when I first went to students, y'all.
Well, you have to understand, I went through a lot of church hurt, and it was
Oh,
people
yeah.
I genuinely loved that were like literally bashing me, I felt like. So I went home, I told my mom, I was like, I'm not going to youth group, I don't like these people, like, it's too big, like, I don't like it. I love you now. I love you.
Hey, really?
Love to tell you, that's awesome.
Pastor Grant.
Pastor Grant.
It was judgment of the.
Hey!
It was judgment of the church hurt. It had nothing to do with you
Yeah.
or your word, because your word the night that I came was amazing. I totally forgot it now, but I remember I liked the word.
Must
I
have been
didn't-
super impactful.
Life changing.
Can't remember what you said, but it was great.
I remember talking about what you said. I just told my mom that I didn't like going there and whatever. Anyways, so I didn't want to be close to anybody just because due to church hurt and whatever. And then I wanted to go to church camp last year, and I had her. And then I went this year, and I don't know, my whole attitude has changed a lot. I'm more interested in God. I've known God my whole life. Like, I've known of Him. I've just never grown to have a relationship with Him. So I think it's awesome that this summer that I'm not actually interested in His Word and what He has to tell me. And then I also went to Teen Mom Camp, and we had to talk to our mentors on what we what we needed prayer on going back at home. And one of my mentors had told me about joining and being a leader at Young Lives, and it I'm distracted, I'm sorry, I'm nervous, but I really think God has a calling in my life to work with other teen moms, and I'm really excited because it's not just working with teen moms, it's working with teen moms and letting them know that they're loved by God.
Yeah.
Even if they're not accepted at home or at their church, they're still accepted by God. That's really all that matters. So,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Amen.
I'm excited to get more involved with our teen moms. And I'm glad to be a teen mom. I love being a teen mom. It's not what I expected, but I'm glad I didn't let influences of other people, I'm glad I didn't let their words stop me from having her.
Yes.
Even with abortion or adoption. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think Brooklyn was a blessing because I was not going down a good path.
Don't think she was.
Huh? Don't think she was a
She
pussy?
was. No,
Don't
you,
think.
You said don't
She
think so.
was.
I swear that was.
I'm gonna need clarification on
You said I think she was a blessing. I said don't think she was,
She is.
Yeah.
but she
You,
is.
you need to insert one of those verbal comments.
A little slow too, so.
Uh,
Anyways, but yeah, God has really done a lot. I think I kind of know what I know now. What I want to do in life is definitely be a leader to other teen moms and grow a better relationship with God, so I can pour into other people, not just teen moms, but definitely that is my main goal in life because I was far from God when I was pregnant. And clearly, I didn't like church people. I was just like, I got church hurt. Like, all of you are judgmental. And y'all aren't. There's just certain ones that are. So, yeah, I don't know. That's about it. I'm just talking because I'm nervous now. So, that's all. Anyone else?
Eric, Brian,
y'all got a choice with Angel around.
Brian, go up there. Mason,
What about Alan? up there?
Alan, what, Marcus? Yeah,
Wow.
Brian, go up there, Brian.
What?
Who on the phone?
Kylie's in it. She's in it.
You going up there, Brian?
Yeah, I didn't even know she. I didn't even know.
Dogs out Brian.
Brian.
Dogs out Gardner.
You already know.
Dogs out gardening.
Yeah.
Wait, put the camera back up. What are you doing?
Football. I hopped in the shower and came straight here. I wouldn't.
Look like he going to a.
He was in there for like 5 seconds.
They barking, man.
You already know.
We don't know.
So.
Stop moving around too much, bro. Get down
Why don't
the
you
camera.
just be your camera guy and I'll be the speaker right now, okay? Alright. So my testimony started when I was 5. My dad committed suicide due to drugs. I didn't know about it until I turned about 11, 12. I wanted to say o'clock. I don't know why I wanted to say 11, 12 o'clock. But I was just 11, 12 years old. But
12 minutes from the house?
There's always one in every crowd. Hey, old Billy Bob,
I didn't know about it until I was 12.
I think your phone's dead.
So
You don't have a charger?
I don't know who told me to lie, but I always went to school.
Yeah.
I had a shirt with my dad on it. I'd always go to school and I got bullied for wearing it. But I told everybody that he died in a car crash because somebody told me it was a car crash, and they didn't want us to know the truth. I'm gonna just go ahead and preach right here, but that's just how some people are. You know, they're gonna tell you lies. They're gonna tell you you need to abort that child. They're gonna tell you you don't need that child. They're gonna tell you you ain't gonna be a pastor. They're gonna tell Grant you're not gonna be a pastor. They may tell y'all this and that, but they're just hiding from the truth.
Yeah.
When the truth is life. It's gonna bring you to life. It's gonna bring you to what you need.
I needed to hear that. That's good, man.
And then I didn't know, but as I grew older, I guess it just hit me when I was like about 7 or 8. I didn't like my mama. She was always in and out of my life ever since I was born. It was either we go with our grandparents or we go into the state and hop from home to home. And I'm very thankful for my Mimi and people for bringing us in. And I absolutely hated my mama. There was so much hate, sorrow, doubt, worry about her. But I'd always say I hated her, but there was always that piece in my heart that was like, why aren't you coming back, Mom? Like, what did I do? Was it me? Like, do you just not love your children? And the older I got, the more I learned about her. And I heard so many things about her babysitting kids, and that's what really wrecked me. It was like, how can she take care of these other kids, but she can't come home? Like, how can she take care of these other kids, but she can't take care of us? Like, what did we do wrong? And even when she would come around, she would come and stay at the house for like a week. And my worst memory was her saying she was gonna. I asked her to come to one of our baseball games that we were gonna have. She was like, "Oh, I can't come right now. I got things to do at the house." And we come home and all her stuff was packed up and she was gone. We didn't hear another thing from her for about a year or so. But there was plenty of times where she tried to hug me and I ran away. She tried to talk to me and I closed the door in her face. And I'm gonna skip a little bit and then I'm gonna come back. But just recently, about a month ago, I finally forgave my mom. I met her in a parking lot after a haircut. I didn't know I was gonna see her. I didn't know I was gonna do anything with her. But my Mimi, she was supposed to meet her at Walmart, but she ended up at the place that we was getting a haircut. And I got in the truck and I was about to drive off, not from her, but I was just about to drive off to go meet her at Walmart. And my Mimi said turn around because she was there, so we parked and she parked next to us. I was honestly sitting in the truck, and I'm gonna throw you under the bus here, Mason.
Why?
It's nothing bad, but
Why?
it's nothing really bad, but I noticed how I was acting really affected my brothers. It was I wouldn't say they look up to me, but I see that my actions dictate what they do, and that's where I knew I had to become a leader in that moment. My mom pulled up and I saw my little brother. He was like, "Why is she here?" And he just got so angry and so frustrated. I was like, "Man, you just gotta forgive her, bro. That's all it's gonna do is hurt you. She doesn't care at this point. You're just gonna hurt yourself. You're not hurting her by doing anything. You're just hurting yourself." And I had to preach to myself in that moment too, because I knew I had to let go. I had to forgive. And I got the sudden urge to just go outside and speak to her. I told my little brother, I said, "I feel like we should get out and go give her a hug." So I got out and I went to go give her a hug, and she just balled in my arms. And I just couldn't do nothing. I just like sat there. I was like blank. I was just like, "What do I do, Lord?" And I couldn't do nothing. I was just like, and then I felt the need to pray over her. And I was like, what's this mess? I swear I just hated her yesterday. And so I prayed over her and I talked to her and invited her to church and stuff. And that was amazing. It was amazing to just get that hug from my mom again. Just to feel her love again. But parts of me is still praying for her because I know that she's still stuck on drugs and doing whatever she's doing. And actually, when I was about 6, I was in the hospital. It was either 6 or 7. I was in the hospital.
You were 5.
5, okay. All right. 5. 5. I was in the hospital when I was 5. I'm not really sure what happened, but my Mimi could tell y'all everything that happened. I had something messed up with my brain. That's why the scars here. I had brain surgery. But I was having real bad headaches, migraines, and one night it just got to the best of me, and I just couldn't hold it together no more, and they rushed me to the hospital, all the way to Nashville. I think it was Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt. And within a couple of days in, well, they didn't let me in. They took me to the emergency room in Vanderbilt. They didn't let me in for a while, and no, my Mimi, I bet she threw a scene in that place. I think she did.
To a whole scene.
Murder.
It was making sure I was getting in there, and I'm thankful for that. And I got put up in the ICU for a couple of days, and then they did surgery. I was back in the normal room, and I learned that it was a new virus or whatever. I guess I just felt like a test figure. It was like something's new, and now I'm the one that has it. Like, what in the world? Nobody's had it, but now I do. And I was healed from that. I still, but as through the surgery, I don't know what they did, but it messed up my pituitary and messed up so many things in my body, and now I have to take medicine for life because of it. I still try not to take the medicine. I forget it each morning. But my wish was to go home on my birthday because I was tired of that hospital. I was in there for about 25 days. Okay, 25 days. I was in there for 25 days. I was tired of the hospital. I was like, I'm ready to get out of this place. My wish was to go home on my birthday, and I did. And I was very thankful for that. But as I grew, I wasn't necessarily raised in a church, but I've been in church. I knew Jesus, but I didn't know him. Like you said, I knew Jesus, but I didn't know him. I was like, I just kind of got the gist of it. I was like, what's this Jesus stuff? Whatever you preach, go ahead. But I got so caught up in the world. I was so lost in the world. My middle school year was definitely my worst. At a very young age, I was introduced to pornography, and from then I was addicted to it. And the longer I was addicted to it, the worse it got. Where I couldn't go days without it. I couldn't go a morning without it. I couldn't go a night without it, and it drew me into a deep depression. And even through that addiction, my grandpa, and whenever COVID hit, we kept him out. We kept him in the house because he had a weak immune system. And we were so confused. One night, his blood pressure was dropping, everything was dropping. And my Mimi rushed him to the hospital. I think he made it like maybe 2-3 days. And then they said that night, they called him because they had a feeling he wouldn't make it. And I don't know what it is.
He made it 5 days, 6 days.
Right,
The 7th day.
Just walk the calendar.
No, for real.
But and they called him that night, and it was so draining for me. The only thing that could pop up to my mind at that point was like, I told him, fight through it like I did whenever I was in the hospital. I know you can get through it. And my voice was shaky, and I was just ready to bawl. I went to my room, and I couldn't do nothing but cry. And my source of getting out of those things was gaming, and I just got on the game. I was crying on the game while playing. I was wrecked in that moment. And we wake up that morning. Well, they woke us up, sat us on the couch and stuff, and they said he died, and that threw me into deep depression right there. I literally just folded and started crying. It wrecked me. It hit me like a train. I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't ready for it. It just shows that time is so crucial. It's love your loved ones while you can. Don't take that as an advantage. And I was so lost. I was so depressed. And then I met these friends in kinhood. It's like I like to call it kinhood. I met these friends. Not good. My 8th grade year was terrible. I ain't never had a write-up in my life. I was such a good kid. 8th grade year, I went out the year with like 6 write-ups.
I did worse than you.
I was about to say amateur. You know
Amateur.
amateur.
I had like 100.
PG, we got the boot, bro. What is that?
That ain't getting me out of school.
I ain't nowhere near as bad as y'all, but
No, I got you.
all it did was increase. All I did was I walked out the house with a fake smile. My friends was the only way that I would laugh. And I started to find my identity in them. I became more like them. I started smoking, drinking, vaping, doing so many different things. And I was so lost, and I was trying to find my identity, but I didn't find it in the right place. I was looking at people. I wanted to become more like them because they were popular. I wanted to be like them because of what they were doing. I liked what they were wearing. And y'all gonna laugh at this, but I was one of them white boys that walked around school with my pants to my knees.
I can't imagine you do that now, bro.
I thought I was a white thug.
I want to see that.
You knew we was gonna laugh. That's why you said it.
Let me tell you something. As you get older, dude, you're gonna look back at yourself and you're gonna be like, even now, you be like, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Y'all look me.
I thought I was doing something, throwing up them gang signs.
No,
He
man.
ain't white right.
He ain't white, dude.
Me and Bill was watching our old YouTube videos, and it was like horrible. It was horrible,
Yeah.
and I was like, man.
It gets worse.
Yes, and I was like, man.
I ain't trying to hide that stuff.
Yeah.
As I just fell deeper into that depression, the more I fell into pornography, and it all just hit me, and I was so lost. It was so dark. Everything was like, it was just, I couldn't do nothing. It was like, it was like, it felt like life was just pointless. It was like, I was just waking up, going to school, coming back home, doing this stupid stuff, blah, 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 blah. I hated my family. I hated everything. I wanted nothing. I had so much anger built up. And there were so many nights where I tried to end it. I slit my wrist, slit everything. I was just so tired. I tried to drink a whole bottle of alcohol to see what it would do. It didn't do nothing. I was smoking. I was so tired of everything. I was like, I'm tired of this world. I'm ready to go. And the first summer camp that I went to, well, actually, we'll start with Teresa bringing me to church. She bring me to church whenever I was in my Kenwood days. And I went to church, and I was just like, alright, dude, this stuff is stupid, and whatever. Let me tell you, one day I was sitting there at Wednesday night youth group service, and this coach took my phone. Let me tell you, I about jumped on her. I'm not gonna lie, I about hit a woman that day. She gave me the face, and she was like, I went over to Teresa. I was like, this woman don't give me my phone. You gotta get me out of here. She brought us to church for about a month or two, and then we went to church camp. That night it was like a spiritual awakening. So I didn't get saved. I didn't do none of it. I wasn't free from nothing. It was just a spiritual awakening. It was the start of the process that God was going to lead me through. And through the months, actually one sermon that the dude preached on was about pornography, and he said, "Come up to the altar. Want to be free from that." Blah blah blah. I was like, "This dude's stupid. I'm not getting rid of that." And even at a conference we went to in November.
Yeah.
I think it was November.
Yeah, it had to be. It was right at Thanksgiving.
And that dude, he said something about pornography too. And I looked around. I was like, "Ain't no way I'm going up there. There's too many people." But the further I grew into Christ, I love to say this, and I'm going to keep saying it. But Billy Graham once said, the further you get to Christ, the more sinful you're going to feel. And just the closer I got to him, it was like he just convicted me of everything. It was just conviction after conviction after conviction after conviction. Like it was just I felt so free. And he didn't even do it within a church. He did it in my own bedroom. He set me free in my own bedroom. And I was so thankful for that. And I was convicted of just about every single thing. It's like he just brought a trash bag into my soul and ripped everything out. It was like I was just made new right there, and it was so amazing. And then I started digging into my word. I started digging into worship, and that's where I found my happiness was in worship. That's where I found my true joy. That's where I found my peace was in worship. And y'all wonder why I go so crazy during worship, but now y'all know. Now you know why. I found my freedom within the Lord. He set me free, and I'm so thankful for that. And this past camp. The one thing that I learned was like I gotta go in there. I gotta fill myself up with the Holy Spirit. I was filled with the Holy Spirit the first camp. I spoke in tongues, and I was filled, and I had so much joy. I left that place just smiling. I couldn't do nothing but smile. I felt the true joy of the Lord. And when there's joy in the Lord, it's never ending. Happiness is temporary, but joy in the Lord is eternal. It's everlasting. And once I found my joy in Him, that's where I was like, I gotta find my identity in Him now. Now I gotta know what's my next step for it. And that's what hit me during the second camp was somebody said something about you're wondering what your next step is. And that first camp, I was sitting at the altar. It was either Wednesday or Thursday night, and while I walked into the room, I was sitting in the chair, I was just praying. Somebody came up to me, they was like, "Yeah, you don't know what to do, you're just wrecked." I was like, I kind of am. I was like, I'm just sitting here. Everybody was out of the place. There was just that soft music in the background, and I heard the Lord. He was just like, "Go sit at the altar and start praying for your church." And I'm like, all right. So I go up there and I sit there, and I start praying for the church. And then next thing you know, I'm starting to pray over everything. And I was on a rampage and just praying. It was so amazing. And as I was just sitting there in the silence, he called me into missionary, into the missions field, and I was just like, wow. I was like, looking back, and like as a kid, I'm just like, I was always trying to help people. I was trying to help people feel better. I was always like, Mimi, can we go give this homeless man $20? Can we go to McDonald's and give him a meal? Can we just help him? And now I know why I always want to help people. It's because whenever you know that you're placed here in the U.S. with a roof over your head, and you're not living on the streets, you're not homeless, and you wonder why people gotta fight for the Bibles, you wonder why people gotta fight just to talk about God. You wonder why, and that's my biggest question is just why. And that hit me. It was just like Matthew 28, go, and it was just like wow, I gotta go. And also in that moment, I didn't notice how much of an impact I was on somebody. But this little boy was standing behind me when I went up to the altar, and as I was just sitting there praying, I turned around and he finally sat down and just had his moment. I was like, so you brought me up to this altar for two things, Lord, to show me what you need me to do, and to also lead somebody into their moment. And it just shows what obeying can do. In the second camp, I went into camp and I filled myself up before I poured out to anybody else. And that's what I want to leave y'all with. Make sure you fill yourself up with the Holy Spirit before you try to do anything with anybody else.
I want to go up there again, but I ain't finna cry.
I ain't gonna say my testimony. Y'all heard me blow it up, didn't you? But I did want to say what he's done like this. What he's done this summer. He's definitely like I wouldn't say showed himself real in my life, because I already knew that God was real, and even before camp, just so many blessings and stuff like that. But definitely during camp and after camp, he's just way maker,
Yeah.
miracle worker.
Yeah.
Some of the things that's I've been blessed with in my life, I'm like, these things don't happen every day. Like, where does this come from, God? And so that's how you know it's divinely sent by Him. No man can work it up. Nobody can pay that price but Him.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's what I would say, is that God really showed Himself real. But I wanted to. Grant, man, when he first came, I was like, man, why this kid don't talk? I remember I talked to him first couple of times. He always stood in that little corner right where the entrance was, like he was ready to leave right when he walked in.
So happened, I was.
And so I was like, man, there's something, he has something about him. So that's why I would always talk to you, man. And so I'm just thankful that you finally saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and I hope that you keep pursuing it.
Yeah.
Angel, you always, when we know when Angel's in the room, because she's a thermostat. She's like, this is what's gonna happen. So Angel, keep me in that thermostat, man.
Yes. Wow.
Mariah, man, your story kind of is personal with me, because my mom, she was young. She was 16 when she had my brother, and she was 18 when she had me. And the doctors told her, she was like, well, you don't have that much money. You're only 18, single mom. You don't have much. You can just get rid of them. You can just have an abortion, that kind of stuff. And so Pastor talked about it on Sunday, but when King Harold, he said we're going to kill all the babies 2 and under. He touches like your story. You're 4 weeks old, and you had that thing happen with you. And so I really feel like that's like a God's gift right there. He says you want to try to touch my kids, and so he makes people like us. So I really believe that Brooklyn, she's gonna do something with the word. You don't mess with God's children. So.
Yeah. You better know it. You don't want to mess with me.
She gonna go hood.
Hey, yeah.
I think the devil's scared of you.
He best to me.
I'm gonna make sure to stay in the room with Andrew because he trembles whenever you come.
Hey,
She ain't right.
Ain't white right.
Well, she ain't white and she ain't right. We know that. We know that.
so funny. I love y'all so much.
But
That was out of
You
order.
know, it was actually. What was the music? Sorry, like, there was this guy who came into work and his shirt, like, it was one of those Lives Matter. And I wasn't going to read it because I was, there's so many different ones now. But I read it and it said Children's Lives Matter. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's so amazing that, like, but I don't think people look at it as deep as that. Like, it's with child trafficking, with abortion, and, like, it's so much deeper, and this world is, like, so blinded by things. So, sorry, go ahead.
No. But I just really believe that God, he does something with our mess. We all had a mess.
Yeah.
He turned the mess into a miracle. I've done so many things, and I'm just glad that he continues to work me through it, and that I can get through it with him. All things are possible to them which believe. If you can just get a hold of the seed, you can move mountains. Not just physical mountains, but spiritual battles and spiritual mountains that may be in your life. Get a hold of that faith and just run with it. So that's all I had.
Pastor Gary, you can go up there if you have something to say.
I just love being with you guys. That's all I got to say. I really do. I just love being here.
Anybody else? Mason? Evan?
I don't have much to say.
You never have much
You
to
can say
say.
that. Correct. I'm a huge fan of talking to people, so there you go. This summer, let's see, what God has done in my life this summer. Well, I went to camp, and that was kind of like the big thing that happened. So I guess prior to this summer, I was like a Christian. I identified as a Christian is what I would tell people, but I didn't really feel like one a lot of times. I was a very lukewarm, and I didn't like I knew God, but like I didn't have like a relationship with Him. And so I guess this summer I've grown my relationship with God, and I have I just love reading the Bible now. Like I read it every single day now. Like I don't miss a day, and I love it so much. Like before this summer, I wouldn't. I'd occasionally look at the daily verse in the Bible app or whatever, and do stuff like that. But and at church, I would zone out a lot, during the sermon or whatever. But not anymore. I enjoy listening to it. I just enjoy being with God, and I have a quiet time every morning, just me and God sitting in my bed, and I love it so much. But God's definitely changed my perspective on everything and my mindset on life and just everything. So, yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
You going back up there, Carter?
Mm-mm.
Would y'all let me say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Come on, This is live stream, by the way, so.
Oh, who's going to see this?
You got to get
No
her to
one-
sign a waiver for video,
I
right?
don't have
I'm gonna have to.
I'm going to give you the fast forward version of my testimony. So when I was 3, I got burned with soup really bad. I got 3rd-degree burns, and they weren't sure if I was going to make it or not. I was in intensive care for 45 days, and my parents not knowing if I was going to survive or not. Got through it. Not too long after that, I sliced the side of my cheek from here to here on my tricycle that the handlebars were broken on. So I got stitched up from that. Not too long after that, I started being molested by my grandfather. And going through all this stuff, right? Then I remember my dad always being there for me. I remember him always by my side and always there. To this day, I'm a true daddy's girl. Got married young, wanted to get out of my house. I wanted to be a mom, and I did that. My marriage hasn't always been easy. It's been tough. There's been a lot of hard lessons that I've had to go through and learn. My dad had started drinking and was addicted to alcohol, and that was really hard because my boys were young and I knew I couldn't trust them with him if he was going to be drinking. Didn't have a great relationship with my mom. She was pretty abusive to me. The reason why I'm saying all this is not to make anybody feel sorry, not to say that my road has been tougher than anybody's, but the one solid true thing is God has always been there. I remember being alone in the hospital room and my grandmother. She gave me this little postcard, and y'all are really young, so you might not remember this scene, but it's a scene about these children going over a bridge and the water underneath is very turbulent. And it shows Jesus there holding them as they're going over the bridge. And I remember that. Everything that I've gone through has led me to the person I am today. And I hear all y'all's testimonies and the things that you have shared and the experiences you've had and being a single mom. And by the way, I think you're an amazing mother.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
But don't be fooled. We all go through things. And it's how we choose to let the Lord use the hurt, the brokenness, the tragedy is what makes a difference, right? Because I'll tell you what, I don't know how he does it. I really don't know how he does it. But there'll come a time in your life when you'll look back at what you've gone through and you think, man, how did you make that beautiful? I remember the first time I got to minister to a young lady in my house. She was sharing with me how she didn't like to work in kids in the nursery because when she changed a baby's diaper, she'd start to tremble because she was molested when she was little, and she didn't want to touch that child inappropriately and be accused of anything. And that's the first time I got to share my testimony, and I said, you know, I understand you because I was molested when I was younger. And it wasn't anything we ever did. You know, no one had a right to do that to us. And we were able to pray. And she came to me later, she says, you know what, that meant so much. She goes, because, you know, I look at you and I think, you know, well, you probably never really experienced any hurt or anything. And she goes, you were just able to walk me through that. And you know what that does? That takes the power of the enemy off that circumstance in your life when you're able to use it and allow the Lord to use it and turn it around. Because the only thing he wants to attach to everything that we've gone through is shame. Because he wants to hold us back. Because he wants us to feel like, man, if they really knew how you felt, if they really knew how you are when nobody's looking at you, that's embarrassing. And what an embarrassment it would be. But you know what? The minute you give voice to it and allow God to work through it, there is such freedom. And what you have done is you've released his grip on you.
Yep.
And you're walking in freedom.
That's good.
So I want to encourage you guys, continue to share. As the Lord leads, there's not going to be, I'm not saying everybody that you come in contact with just start pouring out your life, right? But you'll know when you have those God-appointed moments when He wants you to share and be transparent and be real. And He will use you. And I'm telling you, you're going to feel like this really great high. And you're like, Lord, I don't know how you use that brokenness. But right now, you just used me.
Feels great.
Doesn't it? It's like the best feeling. And what you all have here is not common. Don't take it for granted. Nurture it. Be intentional about being together. I remember my college and career class, and I remember my high school class growing up, and people that I've stayed in contact with. And so this time that you all are living is a very profound and important time in your life. Lean on each other. Be there for each other. It's not convenient. It's not. You guys have a great opportunity to partner with her and love on this baby here. You know, what a wonderful opportunity for us all to be a part of her life and help her through this, you know? We get to encourage each other. I think you're beautiful and amazing. You know? I do. And Angel Girl, you don't stop singing. You keep singing because I can hear you in my patio and I love it. I love it. And Angel, you be that fire. I know that they laugh and stuff, but they're not laughing to make fun. They're laughing because there's strength in you, girl. You are beautiful. So today, we're all messed up. The devil has tried to take us out on so many levels, but he's not going to win. I'm 56 years old. I could go down the list of what I've experienced in my life, but I refuse to let the devil win. I refuse to be taken out because I believe that there is a heaven and a hell. I believe that with all my heart. And I'm not going to be defeated. So I am proud of each one of you. I am so proud. Keep what you're doing. You see me at church, you ever want to talk to Mama Sonia? I'm here. I'm here. Now you know where I live. I live right next door. Come over, visit me. But I'm so proud of you guys. Anyway, I just wanted to share, and I hope I was able to encourage.
Anybody else?
Angel done got choked. Carter got choked up over there.
Coach Cotton. Coach Cotton.
That was an encouraging word. No doubt about it.
I'm gonna stop it.